Hello and welcome to episode 32 of our Timberborn Update 7 Folktails Hard Mode playthrough here in cycle 43, day 5, 2.8 days left until we get a bad tide. Last time we started putting in crenellations along the wall. There's still plenty of work to be done in that regard, and there's still a couple areas that need to be, I guess, technically finished. But we have made some tremendous progress, and we have plenty of other stuff to take care of, as well as we continue in our quest to get the entire thing perfectly ready to go. For what? I couldn't tell you, because usually by the time everything's done, then the series is over and we move on to the next thing. But hey, we can pretend that it's going to last forever and ever and ever. I digress. We do have a couple of other things besides that to take care of. And I think probably the most important thing, because we do have a bad tide coming up, is, dealing with this mess here. And we haven't really done a perfect job, and by haven't really done a perfect job, I mean we haven't done a perfect job at all of getting this bad water exit off the side of the map taken care of. So, in my infinite wisdom, which is to say negative wisdom on water folding, I have somehow managed to not improve anything while doing a whole bunch of work, and I think I finally figured out, famous last words, finally figured out the idea that you guys have been trying to communicate with me, somewhat unsuccessfully, on my part, not yours, for the past several episodes, and that is, this just isn't wide enough here. It's only 2 blocks wide, and we have the 3 wide here, which, in theory should be enough, and it is condensing quite nicely here. But when it comes to getting out via this way, it has to squish down into 2 wide, and that's just, really not ideal. So I think the only probably safe way for this to happen is for us to remove these windmills, blow this up, and widen at least a little bit of this to 3 wide, jog it over a tiny bit, and increase the throughput. Now, it is currently not looking like this is a problem, but remember, this is a temperate cycle, which means this water right here that's coming out nice and clean is going to be coming out not nice and not clean on this side when we get over there. And then also, all the way back here, this water is also coming back not nice and not clean when this switches over. And we go into dev mode real quick just to see. 1, 1, 1, 1. How many times have I done this? I don't know, but I'm still never going to remember what the strength is, so we can just not have to worry about that ever again. So that's 4 there, and then this should be another 4. So that's another 8 strength, adding to 3 here and 3 here. So more than doubling the throughput, and obviously that is not going to fly when it comes to how this is set up. So recognizing the potency with which this bad water exits the map and the power that it generates, I think it is probably okay. It is very good and very okay for us to remove these windmills and come in here with some dynamite and just blast this to smithereens. Technically, we don't have access to this because, we put all this other stuff in here, so I will put a platform in place so the bots will be able to get over here. Remember, all of our workers are bots. There are no beavers doing anything anymore. And we are going to blast this out, create a little bit wider of a channel here. Going to have to get this to come down as well into tunnel mode, which will thankfully allow us to, solve a lot of our problems here. So I'm going to have this come out to right about there. That should be enough. And what that's going to allow us to do is, first, when, the bad tide actually starts, we can evaluate if it doesn't flood first. If it does not flood, then I want to finally close this little bit out so we can, do things the right way and get that taken care of. So we'll go ahead and put this in triple speed, get our bots in here, blast this out of the way. The water wheel stuff is maybe going to output a little bit less power, but, grand scheme of things, I really don't think this is going to be a problem. We're just going to have to maybe put these windmills back in. And you know what? I just had the realization I didn't have to get rid of the windmills, because if I well, I think that's how this would have worked, at least. If I would have put tunnels in, then it would have detonated the ground underneath the buildings and simultaneously replaced it with a platform. But now I am just sickeningly curious. I'm going to try this. Actually, this has to be paused first. In fact, I'm going to just delete it. I want them to build this windmill. And then after it's built, I'm going to put a tunnel underneath it. If it works, then I guess I win the stupid idiot award for not doing that over here. But as you might notice, we don't have a lot of gears, and I got a number of comments, people saying that I needed to turn the gear workshops back on. So they're back on. We're going to have gears. It's just going to be a little bit slower. We have doubled our gear output by me doing that, and that hopefully will not be too big of a problem here. It's going to let them... I guess I do have to do this one bit at a time because, you know, yeah, planning ahead is something I have never in my entire 33 years been very good at doing, and I don't anticipate that to change anytime soon. So, regardless, windmill in place. If this instantaneously replaces this with a platform and does not just explode it to smithereens, then that's going to be really cool. But if it does explode it to smithereens, then I am going to be slightly justified in how I decided to handle this over on the side of the map. Either option at this point would be a very entertaining revelation, so... Yeah, okay. Alright, I guess I'm dumb, but that's cool that that works. I can't believe I didn't try that. So now that can just get completely removed. And yes, we will do this one piece at a time instead of me putting stairs up here because, well, you know, that's just the way she goes. But, you know, we do have the technology for me to just go ahead and say, you know what? Just make the whole thing a tunnel. Just make the whole thing a tunnel. And then I just have to put these platforms back in here, and then I can put the windmills back in place. And eventually, that will get all sorts of fixed, and so many problems will be solved. And children will be laughing and dancing in the streets. And none of that's going to happen because this is a video game and it doesn't really matter at all. But we're going to have fun anyway. Yeah, man, I'm just a little upset that I didn't think about that earlier. But, you know, can't change the past. Just got to let them do what they're going to do and get this whole thing ready to go. I think we've probably fixed most of the problem here. 3 wide, you know, 3 wide might not even technically be enough. That's why we do have these channels in place here. But I want to say everything should be okay. If not, then, well, I guess it'll make it more interesting for you guys watching the videos at my expense, but, you know, that's nothing new. So, we also have all of this stuff in here to think about, and I asked you guys, the very middle of this, this wall here, I asked you guys for your opinions on what I should do with this. And at least one person said monuments would be cool, and then I think there's a couple other comments that kind of communicated the idea to me that maybe we should put a little tower here. Because, you know, it's the center of the side of the map. I think it would be kind of cool to have something unique and interesting. And castles, of course, at least, well, depending on what kind of castles you're talking about. I'm not a castle historian expert, but I do know that I have seen a lot of castles, seen a lot of pictures of a lot of castles. It's castles all the way down, where, you know, kind of the corners tend to have these built-up structures, towers, so on and so forth, with different things in and on them. And I think that would maybe be kind of a cool thing to do. So, you know, we have the zip line here. This is a 6-wide wall, including the sides here. So if we, right here in the very corner, put up a little bit more here, and then we had the path and the zip line kind of going into this enclosed space, I think that would look pretty cool. So if we were to do, you know, just like this, nice and simple, we do have this area here that needs to be, well, it doesn't need to be, but it will look substantially better if it is filled in. So that is what I will end up doing here. You know the drill. Just do what you can with what you got. It is bad tide time, so now I am going to take this off at triple speed, because I have infinite paranoia about this. Why do I have 19 flooded buildings? Oh, I see. Well, I guess I should have anticipated that happening. Fortunately, most of it's over here in these builders' huts. This stuff flooded, that's going to take 800 years to go away. It is what it is. As long as we don't have nasty water coming through here, then it's really not that big of a deal, and you guys, I guess, just get more ammo to roast me in the comment section, but that's fine. This is successfully diverting here. This is now coming through here just fine. It hasn't actually gotten the tunneling bit completed yet. Okay, there's one more piece here. So that is, well, it's doing something at least. It's not backing up to the point of flooding over here yet, which is slightly comforting. This should be... Yeah, see, this is doing fine. There's still capacity here. It is slightly going down, I suppose. Looking alright. Did I not... Oh, I literally just had this going here. Okay, I can't reach this because of why? Oh no, they can. They just haven't done it yet. Alright. So that problem will solve itself in due time, maybe. Unless this is now going to back up here, and that would be very bad. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen. Is this still overflowing? Come on, man. Alright, it seems like it's finished. So, what did we learn here? These walls are not high enough. They need to be raised. I don't know if or how I can do that realistically. But this coming through this way also was apparently a problem. So, this at 0.85 needs to have another bit next to it. I don't know, man. Oh, this is, it's every time I turn around I've made some sort of other stupid mistake. It's actually really demoralizing, but this seems to be doing something, at the very least. Assuming that the flow, there we go. So that is, okay, it's actually going up and down a little bit, but as long as it doesn't flood, I guess this is okay. Maybe? Maybe fine? Somewhere out there, there's someone who actually understands the intricacies of water folding and is extremely depressed while watching these videos. But I guess that probably cannot be helped. Everything else seems to be working fine. Just over here doing dumb stuff. But this will dry up eventually. You know, it's probably going to take a decent amount of time, but this should be gone momentarily as well, as long as we have a little bit more of a, you know, a failsafe in here. This is always open. It might not be enough. I might need to put a second one, or just say, you know what? You don't need to have these separated at all. Just make this a little, no. Okay, well, that clearly wasn't a smart choice. Just go ahead and double dynamite all that away. Just have this thing be completely open, and then I'm going to have another outflow here, or I could just bring this all the way to the outside of the map, which is same height? What was that, 3? That's 4. Okay, well. You know, we do have 2,800 dirt, so I suppose it would not be the worst thing in the history of mankind or beaverkind for us to come in here and, oh, thanks autosave, come in here and just, you know, make ourselves a lovely reservoir expansion that we may possibly not ever use to its fullest potential, but which may make it possible for us not to have any further problems with this. Tell you what, I'm not batting 1,000 a day, that's for sure. Maybe I should put, I don't think I need to worry about putting a sluice in there. This will probably never be able to be filled up in a normal cycle. Possibly famous last words. So, we will see what happens. They have access to this. We know they can do it. They just have to get it done, and they've got 23 days to do it, so I'm not going to feel bad about not having this completely connected to something else. I think it's going to be okay. The biggest question I had was, will this prevent flooding over here? And it seems that has actually been successful. I'm going to set this off, which may cause some sort of weird fluid dynamics to occur as these explosions and their effects take hold here. But I think a little bit of surging there, but that might be either exactly the same or a very marginal improvement. So, hooray! This is still making 3 times the power that it actually needs to, so it's probably not an issue at all. Now remember, we were over here attempting to do some interesting castle design, which I think is something everybody can appreciate. Just kind of got distracted by the whole "why are there 19 flooded buildings" thing. You know, just normal stuff that happens. So I'm going to continue putting this in place here, and then I suppose at some point I'm going to have a way to get up inside of stuff. Now, you'll notice the biofuel tank is still here. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to, next to it, put one for catalyst, and then I'm going to put one for water over here, because why not? And that is going to be a pretty simple, pretty straightforward little castle keep design. I don't think anyone can find any fault with that. You're absolutely welcome to, though. Let's go ahead and get this popped in this way. And then what I'm going to do, because this is still the outside of the castle, we're going to come in here with our fence pieces and use these as kind of like a window grill, window screen, depending on how you choose to identify it. And we can and will still put terrain above that. Just think that is a little fun decoration detail to apply there. And when that's actually put in place, it should look pretty cool. Pretty cool. And I do like this bumping outside of this wall here. Remember that, you know, the inside wall of the castle probably isn't going to need to have crenellations, according to you history buffs in the chat. But I do think I still want to put simple stuff, like maybe just the fences would be okay, because you know you don't want to fall off the inside of the wall, right? Everybody would laugh at you and then you'd be sad. So I'm gonna try to avoid that. Help our beavers and bots and whoever try to avoid that. And I don't know how high I want this to be, but if we just real quick kind of take a look at what the maximum height of dirt is. Yeah, okay, you know, I can live with that. I just have to decide what kind of windows I want to have. Now remember, we have the option to, you know, put a second level of stuff in here. Is it necessary? No. Is it cool? Yeah. You know, that's maybe not necessarily a good guiding principle for life in general, but, you know, we're playing video games. It really doesn't matter. We're having a good time. We are here to enjoy ourselves. So, why not do something a little bit dumb just because you can, right? So, why don't we try to put a second floor on the inside of this? I'm not sure from a perspective of these overhangs how that's going to really work. Looks like, yeah, the 5x1s would be great if I had a good way to get inside here. The 5x5 actually is perfect, but I don't have room on this inside here unless I were to remove this biofuel tank and just put something else in the corner, which, you know, it is kind of tempting, not gonna lie. Because if I did that, then, I mean, I really don't have to have water out here. Biofuel and catalyst would make sense. Well, it really would make more sense to be right in front of these stations, but, you know, that's not where we are. So I'll tell you what, you know what, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Let's put this as biofuel and put this as catalyst. Ooh. That doorway is on the outside. This doorway is not on the outside. We got the time. We got the resources. Let's just make it happen. Biofuel, catalyst on this side. All right. Now what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to put in the center support. But I can hear you saying the 5x5 is going to block off your ladders. You're absolutely correct. So we have a couple options. We don't do the 5x5. Option 2, we do a 3x3, which I don't think is going to be a tremendously smart idea. Or option I forgot how many options we have. We have ladders or staircase on the outside. Well, the outside on the inside of the castle walls, the battlements, whatever you want to call them, that goes through a little doorway. And then we don't have to have the ladders on the inside. I think that's a better option. So, again, remember that we're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks here. This isn't like a super scientific medieval castle, you know, design fest or anything like that. We're just messing around. But I think that is pretty spiffy right there. So, if I were to then come around the outside here, fill that in place, now we have another floor here. And on that floor, we can choose to put more tanks, or if we want it to have, you know, actual beavers in here, we could put some recreational stuff. Like, look, this is the perfect size if you had an outside entrance to put in a dance hall. Or you could put in a mud pit and some other decorations. Or you could say, you know what, this is for the bots, nobody cares, and then just put in more tanks here, which honestly is probably the more realistic way to go about doing this. But I guess probably what's going to make the most sense is to just, for right now, leave it open and just let this be what it's going to be. Yeah, I already showed you guys this is the maximum height. I think what's going to be cool is for us to have crenellations on top of this guy as well. So, why is the game paused? I don't know. I don't remember why I paused it. So we're gonna unpause it and just you know, let this be what it's gonna be. Pop the rest of these things in there, and then pop this here on the outside. And there you go. That's not going to look too shabby. I think that is pretty nice. Now, obviously, this is something we could continue improving, and I'm sure there will be some sort of modifications made to this design, but it's a pretty simple thing. I don't think it needs to be that serious. It's just kind of a neat idea that we had, and we're able to do something with. Now, they can't reach this metal platform because they can't get to the top here. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to pause these crenellations on the top so they can build everything else, and then we'll have to do them in a weird backwards order that I'm sure will cause absolutely no amount of pain or suffering to people watching this video. So we'll let them take care of that. And then now that we know this is a thing, we can come over here to the outside and do more or less the same thing. Except now I know I can pop in this bit like so. Just right across that way. And we can, you know, just let it be what it's gonna be. Same old, same old. Got a tank here. Got a tank there. Flip that guy around. Bad water. Not bad water. Biofuel. Which is made from bad water. Is it? Is it actually? I never remember between different factions. I probably play way too much of this game and need to take a break. But that is Catalyst. That is Catalyst. Spatterdock. There is not a recipe in the Folktales for bad water to come from biofuel to come from bad water. That is an Ember Pelts thing, which I recorded earlier this afternoon. Spoiler alert. Trying to get a little bit ahead here. I got a whole lot of stuff I gotta take care of, but promise you guys we're gonna have fun with the beavers, and that we are. So the show must go on. Put in these little wood fence bits here. I do like using the fences as like a simulation for little I don't even know what you'd call them. Somebody in the comments will. I'm absolutely sure of that. A little windows with the grates on them. I think now I can actually get away with doing that. How did I... Okay, I had that go up to the maximum height, and I got my ladders here. I might have to actually put that in with a path. Oh, it already is. Okay, cool. Problem solved. I just have to do the same kind of thing over here. No, not there. Get out of here. I have to remember not to put in... Okay, so that is already maximum height there. So it's actually not that bad of a design in terms of difficulty to build. I just somehow managed to struggle at basic things. So, corners, taken care of. The middle, I think eventually... Oh, you know what? This actually does kind of bother me. This is slightly off-center. But I think we decided that this was supposed to be like the grand entrance to the inner keep or whatever. So when we get around to fixing this, I guess we can address that. But this bit in the center here, remember this is a 60... No, it's a 128 by 256, isn't it? I have the coordinates. I never managed to look at them correctly. 127. And on the very, very, very far end, it calls it 00. So I guess that's 128. Which means... Wait, did I get this wrong again? Oh, man. Ah. Yeah, it's 128, which means I was right the first time. And nobody called me out on this in the comments. As of the time of recording this video, no one has called me out for doing this math wrong. Or I didn't see the comment, maybe if you did. But 128 divided by 2 is 64. Which means that this edge right here actually was supposed to be a terrain block. Which lines it up just about perfectly with this. You know... Oh, man. One of these days I will be able to do basic math without just absolutely destroying my brain. Today is not that day. 2, 4, 6 here. If we were to go 6 wide in the center, on the top of that we could put in a farmer monument and a brazier of bonding, although that wouldn't really have a whole lot of range. Farmer monument even less. Fountain of Joy is a 5x5 that requires a centerpiece with water in it. And then, of course, you have the Earth Recultivator that is a 7x7. So, depending on where we want to pup this, we might have to have more than one. But I digress repeatedly, severely, and with great question for my mental stability. But I think what we're going to want to do is to base this off of a 6 wide, including the outside. So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, I think that is going to make sense. Because remember, 6 is the width of the actual wall itself. And yes, we have a little bit extra here, but that is going to make the most sense. The corner bits, I guess, could be a little bit bigger. That's a pretty common thing that I've seen in castle designs. But for the sake of what we're trying to do here, we'll go ahead and just get this popped in like so, and then build this up. I'm not going to put any platforms in here yet, but we will at some point probably have to do that. For right now, I'm just going to leave this like this, and because that's what the bots can build without doing anything else, and just let that be what it's going to be. Now, we do still have this entire side to put crenellations on, and then I do still have to do all of this. I completely forgot about pretty much all of it on this side, because, you know, we've been doing so much fun stuff over here. I think I'm ready to try taking this platform out and replacing it with dirt. I kind of expect there to be problems when I shut this off, so as soon as they start building this, I'm going to take this out at triple speed, because water physics in this game tend to be a little weird when you have the speed advanced beyond a certain point. Alright, so 1 speed. Thank you, autosave. So that's going to put a little bit more of a surge coming through here. I hope it does not come up this side of this thing here. I think we are probably okay. Put it on triple speed. It has risen a little bit. Now it's risen a lot a bit. As long as it does not come over this tile, we will be okay. Nothing through here. I think we might be okay. Might be good. The amount of power has definitely increased. I think we may have solved it. No, of course I'm going to. Wait, hold on, what's flooded? Oh, that's these three. Okay. I was about to just be absolutely just beside myself trying to get the whole thing figured out. So, it's everybody's favorite time. Once again, that's right, it's time-lapse time. I'm going to put more crenellations in. I'm going to start putting decorations in as well, or little fence pieces in the one-by-one rooftop things. And by the time that is finished, we'll have advanced some amount through the rest of this bad tide. We'll be able to come out of that and talk about what's going to come next. Okay, so we've gotten most of this done, but it was starting to take a little while, and I didn't want to have that much time-lapsed relative to, you know, all of the crenellations and all of the roofing and all of the fences that we put in. And look at these. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. It actually kind of looks a little bit ridiculous, but we have made a tremendous amount of progress, and it's time we do something about this mess here. And there's a lot of stuff that we're going to have to fix for this to be a truly viable thing that we're trying to build here. So I think what's going to happen is always got to complete 2 shaves and haircut. But we're going to have to probably build some pillars in here to kind of, you know, make sure the bad water can still get through. But I'm not entirely sure exactly what that's going to be looking like. Let's start by just, you know, kind of doing whatever we can to get this whole thing situated. We got to take a look at, you know, this whole mess here. We don't need to have this here. This can get demolished. I don't think we need to worry about picking up all these pieces because we have an absolute insert your favorite word for large quantity of items. I do need to put in these little hole fillers here. I think they can access all this. Hopefully. And yeah, this whole mess of, well, all of this needs to go away. That is a lot. That is a lot of stuff on the ground. This, of course, is our drain, so, you know, we don't need to fill that in. I will go ahead and put this path back in place there. And I think, you know, now that this kind of goes in this way, this is an access to the inside that we kind of don't need to have, if we're being perfectly honest with each other. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, you know what? It's time for that to go away. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this tree, because this whole mess with the stairs is cramping our style. It's in the way. So I'm going to have to instead move that to here. And we'll have this get a little bit of a detour. Right there, that will connect. Hopefully, yes, that was correct. Just a lot of little tiny things that need to get fixed that are going to be very hard to do in a time-lapse without moving the camera as much as I'm going to have to move the camera. So, hopefully you can understand that. Yeah, we've got to get this tree out of here. Thankfully, it is just about done. See you later. Get rid of that. And I'm going to bring it all the way up to this little bit of stuff here. This is height 14. This is height 16. This is height 15. So the wall actually needs to go one higher. Right like this. I think they should be able to reach this, but we'll give them a little bit of a helping hand with that path there. So, you might be saying, wow, this is a whole lot of work for you to just kind of have this look marginally better, and you would be correct. It is a lot of stuff that we probably don't need to be spending this much time worrying about. But I like it when stuff makes sense and isn't completely stupid. So, that unfortunately does come with the burden of trying to do things the correct way. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just is the way it is. I think if I have this go out this way, I can go ahead and get rid of that and that. I always forget that I do have to build these in the correct order, and that is that's something I have to just you know, actually be better at remembering. So if I have this 3 wide here, I have this 2 wide here, I have this 2 wide here, I think that's probably about as good as I can realistically expect myself to be with this. Just go ahead and put all this mess in place. Just, you know the drill. Put all of this in here. And I think these gravity batteries are going to have to get kind of reconfigured. I'm not exactly sure the best way to do that would be. We'll find out. And of course I'm going to leave this just a single tile of height there. Probably going to have to make sure something else gets built first. But that's fine. I think we've taken care of pretty much all of the problems in here that actually need to be addressed. I'm not going to bother filling in the rest of this. We just have to be able to remove this bit here when the time comes. It looks like I've got a little bit here I can get rid of. Make sure that is still connected. I don't think it really matters. Why does this say it's not connected to a path network? I specifically made sure that this would still be connected here. Yeah, it doesn't seem to care. All right. Time to peel this thing back and see exactly what my problem is. Okay, that's connected here. That does have that there. This is connected all the way back here, which is connected all the way in there. You know, it might actually not be connected to... Aha! Well, there's your problem. Go ahead and get that taken care of. And as soon as I'm certain there's nothing else we're going to have to take care of here, yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and just remove this, remove that, and replace it all with dirt. You know the drill. Just get that done there, and then just bring this all the way down, except for where the gravity batteries are. Make sure this lines up. It's very hard to see this with all the gray. And we'll deal with that at some point later on in the future. But let's get this path all the way in. Get this deleted. And yes, friends, now it is time for yet another time lapse where we will finally, hopefully, assuming nothing goes wrong, finish at least the top of this. I know there's going to have to be something we do with the zip lines, but I am starting to run out of time to record this. So we got to move it along, get what we can get done, and address a small amount of other things you guys brought up, and then say goodbye for today. Alright, so this is basically done. There's a little bit left here, but we have managed, thank you autosave, have managed to, you know, kind of stop a lot of the nonsense from happening here, but still allow some bad water to go through. This 16 high wall is complete just about to where I want it to be. We're going to have to, I don't know, do something about this. But we have a lot of crenellations across this entire half of it. Wait, what's going on here? Ah, that's the excavator. That's what's doing that. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say this is complete, because there's still, I'm sure, plenty of other stuff we can do. But this is a very, very good start. I do see all these paused bits here, and I guess if we want to be really, really particular about how we do this, I could just go ahead and, you know, get those going. But we have 1.3 days left before this bad tide is over. And, oh yeah, okay, they haven't actually finished this quite yet. But what they have done is allowed this to exist. And this is, oh, they don't have access here. Okay. Well, we can fix that. Go ahead and get that popped in there. Should allow them to get this whole thing kind of separated. And then I guess I probably should do the same thing here if we're gonna be smart about it. Just go ahead and, well, maybe I don't need to have this entire thing separated, but you know the drill. Just go ahead and run that out this way. So that will get this entire thing expanded, assuming they can finish this by the time it fills up, which I am not entirely sure is possible, but we will see what happens. I have not increased the capacity here because I'm going to have to kind of rebuild a bunch of this when that happens, and I really don't want to mess with that. So what might have to happen instead is I'm going to have to make sure there's an overflow, and I think the easiest way to do that is going to be... okay, we're not going to want to worry about this, but remember, when the bad water's coming through here, it never gets high enough to go over the top of the wall. So, what I'm going to do... Actually, you know, there's like a 99% chance nothing is ever going to go wrong if I just put a dam in here to allow for overflow through this part of the map. But as we know, Murphy's Law is alive and well in all of my playthroughs, so I'm going to instead take that out, and I'm going to put in sluices facing this way, because those are one-way valves. And this will just be, I guess, open at all times, never ever to close. And that way, you know, the good water will have some sort of way to overflow from here out. Because, you know, we do, when the good water comes in, this sluice shuts, and it forces it to go through this set of sluices into here. And now, we at the very least have a slight hope of this whole thing not completely overflowing. Might not be enough outlet to account for all of this, but I guess we're gonna find out. I did say I wanted to redo all this, so maybe that's a thing for later. But let's take a moment to check. Yeah, that's set to 0.9. This is set. It's way buried underneath here. Somewhere over here is a. Okay, I can just turn this on. Oh, it's back here. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, that's what feeds our doohickey here. Yep. Cycle 44 begins, etc., so on and so forth. They have not finished this, and it is, you know, probably absolutely my fault because I had them doing all sorts of other garbage, but maybe they'll get this. Maybe they'll get this before too long. I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't going to overflow into all this mess again. I know we have to redo this. That's going to require more brain power than I currently possess. So that's going to have to be what it is. I totally forgot about these windmills here from last episode. So let's do ourselves a kindness and, you know, build them. Not really any reason not to do that. Just go ahead and get that all constructed. That's going to give us a lot more power on our... Well, power. we do need to have more battery power in place when we, you know, actually can manage to get that put in correctly. But for now, that's going to be fine. Wait a second. I just figured out I may have been stupid in other ways. Oh, is this a dam? Oh, good. Okay. All right. I was just thinking, wait a second. I just made a closed loop sluice thing that's not going to actually do anything. But it's all going through here, and then if it overflows, it will go through here. Which, while it will still go through here, if the pressure is significant enough, it will force its way through these dams at the top. And I'm pretty sure that shouldn't cause any problems. But, you know, it's, yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing. It always is. It always is. There's always something that happens here. But now we have all of our clean water, all 2 CMS worth, coming into this side of the reservoir, all the way from over here. Which, I'm very happy with how this is working. Plenty of other stuff still to do. Yes, but good progress. Good stuff today with this. And this is actually functionally complete. Obviously, there's some more decoration I'd like to do. I'm sure you guys have plenty of other ideas. Maybe to kind of break this up a little bit. Please do leave those in the comments. I do always appreciate those. Always read those. Right now, my primary energy is on trying to make sure that this isn't completely screwed over here. Depending on how fast this fills up. I do think, you know, eventually these probably do need to all become one with slightly separate heights so that we don't, you know, flood the farm here. But I think we're probably not too far off from that. Remember that we also have the ability to divert this into here if we so desire. And then I could also just, you know, I can shut this sluice if there's too much water in here, and then it just You know, it comes out this way. There's still a little bit of pollution in here. You can tell the different, yeah, the slightly different texture. Oh, I'm running on fumes, folks. I'm trying as hard as I can. This is working here. Do they have the ability to come over and build this too far from a... What do you mean it's too far? It's connected directly from a path. Oh, don't tell me they're... Okay. All right. I keep forgetting they changed the way that the ladders interact with paths. And when I say they, this is a mod. It's not a base game thing. And it always trips me up because I've got years. I have literally years. Look how fast these guys are coming in. I have literally years of muscle memory with the ladders that says never touch the paths because they always, yeah. So it is what it is. I don't have to, you know, tell you how that one works. But looks like we're getting pretty full here. So if this is open, which it always is, we should very shortly, when this gets up to about 2.65, 2.66, should see some water coming through here. If that doesn't happen, then we have a severe problem. So far, things are looking... Hey, there we go. Cool. Now, if this gets much higher than, you know, 2.67, 2.68, then it's time to have some discussions about how we can solve that. But I'm going to be cautiously optimistic with this. Sometimes that's a mistake, but I digress. We got a lot of cool stuff done today, folks. I really appreciate you supporting the video, supporting the channel, supporting me, Beard Boosters, directly contributing to the insanity by allowing me to continue to make videos. And, you know, I literally can't do it without you. I wouldn't be doing it without you. But here we find ourselves at, not the end yet, but closing in on the precipice of greatness in Series 25 in one game. That's a lot of Timberborn, folks. I've got like 1,100 hours in Timberborn on Steam, and it's all basically outside of, you know, maybe like an hour or two since September of 2021 when the game launched. It has all been put on the internet. I basically never play this if I'm not making a video or streaming, so you've seen it all. You've seen the good, you've seen the bad, you've seen the what's worse than bad. You can make up a name for that. But it truly is not possible without your support, and I am very thankful we get to share this time together. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, please stay safe, have fun, and I look forward to seeing you back again in this series on Tuesday and in Roller Coaster Tycoon tomorrow. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.